Hey everybody. So, the topic came up, micro weapon lights nowadays. Surefire, you have Modlite, you have Cloud Defensive, and everything's bigger in 2023. The average house size, the average linebacker weight, the average automobile, everything is bigger. If you don't believe me, just Google some of that stuff and see how linebackers, cars, houses, pretty much everything is bigger now. And should that include micro weapon lights? I don't know. That's going to be up to you. But what I do want to demonstrate is that yes, they are bigger. I know a lot of y'all are astute enough to point out that middle light is not a micro, it is a full-size light. It is a Surefire Pro body with a Modlite dual fuel PLHv2 on it. This is a REIN 3.0 micro, and this is a Surefire 340 DFT. Now, I tested all these on my own Lux meter, and these are the results of that. And this is kind of what you get into when you get into a full size in some cases. So the Modlite at turn on was 58,000 lux. They're rated at 54,000. At 205 seconds, it had dropped to 53,000 and change, and it began a slow drop down to 29,000 lux at 275 seconds. And it maintained flat until I shut it off at 375 seconds. That's a lot of regulated runtime there. Now, supposedly it'll do out 75 minutes, and I think that's until 10% output or something. Then our REIN 3.0 micro, that turned on at 102,000 lux, and at 30 seconds, it had dropped, or began to drop down. It dropped down to 39,000 lux at 30 seconds. And it was down to 29,000 lux. From 28 to 70,000, it dropped to that. Like I said, 30 seconds, it was at, 30. Oh, I'm sorry, I've misread. I wrote all this on a whiteboard. It's messy, I can't read my own writing. Anyway, no, it dropped at 28 seconds. It went from 102,000 to 29,000 lux, from 28 to 70 seconds. So it just really plummeted. At 170 seconds, when I shut it off, it was still at 29,000 lux. So it seems by about a minute in, you've cut your lux down by almost 70%. That's pretty wild. And then that brings us to our Surefire. It cranked up at 95,000 lux, and at 90 seconds, it had dropped down to, 47,000 lux. It began that slow coast from 90 to 175 seconds. It drifted from 95 to 47. So it started out, it was a pretty even slope down. You gradually began dropping at the 90-second mark, and on down to 175 seconds, it made its way to 47,000. And that's where it stayed at 275 seconds. I gave each light 100 seconds after the initial D-rate stopped happening. These are all dual fuel lights, and the Modlite PLHv2 managed 54,000 lux on CR123s. The Cloud REIN 3.0 managed 39,000 lux, and the Surefire, it managed 51,000 lux. And all those measurements were taken at 30 seconds. I've never seen these lights derate on CR123s, so I just left it alone. Now the Modlite may have, because it was putting out almost identical performance as it was on the 18650. Anyway, that's kind of interesting. The mini quote-unquote lights have roughly 30 to 35 minute advertised run times with 18350s. So let's just see how big these things have gotten. Here is our REIN 3.0, and this is a Torrent Africa mount. It's the lightest mount I could find. That's aluminum, 5.4 ounces. And here is our Surefire dual fuel turbo with its mounting system. Also pretty light. We're coming in at 5 ounces on the dot, so half an ounce lighter. Then we bring on our Modlite and Surefire Pro combo here. And we are looking at 5.7 ounces, so 0.3 ounces heavier than the REIN Micro. That's not a lot of difference, especially when you consider some of the performance enhancements you get from that larger battery. So what about how long these guys are? Length matters, guys. Length matters. Right, our Surefire Modlite here, if we can get the camera to focus. 5.3, a little over. All right, our Surefire Turbo Mini, Micro Mini. We're looking at almost 4.8. All right, our Cloud REIN. Just a hair under 5 even. So a hair under 5 versus hair over 5.3, barely a quarter inch, a little over a quarter inch, a third of an inch separates these from a full size. I don't know about you, to me this was a mini light, kind of the OG for you Zoomers out there. Us millennials remember much larger regular lights and a little bit smaller mini lights, actually. 3.1 ounces. Okay. And barely over 4. Okay. Mini and micro lights have grown. Anyway, what do you say we take these outside real quick and see what they do? Alrighty, guys. Our gazebo is at 70 yards, 70-75. Our solar panels are at 65 yards, and they're 15 yards across. And the cedar tree that we're going to encounter is at 125 yards. This is the Cloud up first. 15 yards across, 65 yards. And this cedar tree is 125 yards out. All right, now let's run the Modlite PLHv2 dual fuel. Got our gazebo. You can see more of our solar panels, almost the whole thing. And we've got our cedar tree. Still lights it up really well. Remember, that's 125 yards out. All right, and up next is our Surefire Mini Turbo. There's our gazebo, our solar panels, and let's light up our cedar tree at 125 yards out. Anyway, I hope y'all found this video interesting, informative, all of those good things. And as always, go out there, be safe, and shoot stuff. Gonna end our video with the PLHv2.